Smart 24, driving business.
Well, we're back from the break and let's continue. It's 4 minutes past 8 a.m. this morning. It's a Friday, 9th of December. Of course, the government joins the rest of the world to commemorate the Anti-Corruption Day today. Clearly, a day when we still have to remind the Ugandans that it is upon all of us to put an end to corruption. It starts with me, you, and the other people. So it's something that we clearly need to have at the back of our minds. So if at all you indulge in bribing officials, only officials, private companies, and all that, please, those are all signs of corruption. So we should get our sides, we should get ourselves away from it. And the best way to do it is to start by saying no from now. It starts with me, you, and everybody else within the country. It also starts from the grassroots, right from home. We need to input good images of a world free of corruption right into our children as early as possible. But that aside, just to remind you that you can grow your investments and you can grow your money with Zabo. Dial *292# on MTN and follow the prompts. If you do not have an account with Zabo, you can quickly start up one, and in the next 24 hours, you'll be ready to invest. Zabo is a platform by Altex East Africa, and Altex East Africa says, do something new today. Zabo, my money, my future. Let your money shape up your future in the best way possible. By that *292#, you will definitely see the different bonds and various products that you will learn about. You will select preferred maturity period for the bond that you choose to invest into and start investing with a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings. The markets on the platform open at 8:15 a.m. It's just 10 minutes away as the markets will be open, and they will close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Saturdays and Sundays, these particular ones are not open, and also during public holidays. Zabo, my money, my future. Altex East Africa, do something new. Okay, now, since it's morning, you quickly have to start your day. It's a cold one. You can quickly start it with a motivation and an inspiration. But besides that, how about if you learn something new that you will add to your business and that will help you attract more customers? We started off with our business tip this morning. The business tip is telling us to diversify. If you get more than 50% of your business from one customer or distribution channel, diversify. Don't become overly dependent on one source for your long-term economic well-being. So that is what this tip is telling us, to diversify. That if you're getting the majority of your sales from one source, or if I told you a business person and your customers are coming in from one direction, ideally, what will happen in case something wrong occurs? For example, if you're in a neighborhood and these customers of yours happen to shift from where they are, what are you going to do? So that means you're supposed to diversify, attract more customers as possible as you can. It's the same applying to the employees out there, that sometimes you get to realize that you always have to have various channels from which you get more money, regardless of the fact that you are getting money from your bosses and from your job or from your point of employment. But also think twice in regards to the other areas or other avenues of the money that you will be getting, because not only are you supposed to focus on the money that you earn from one source, but also from various sources, because sometimes you get to realize that these sources that you're getting may start to limit themselves. Then that will affect your business in the long run. So avoid it by creating more channels to diversify. That is our business tip this morning, and then our motivation through our business quote as well. And of course, our business quote says the secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. This is a quote that comes in for you this morning. The secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. So the daily routine is clearly shaping you for the future. So what you're doing today ideally translates to how your future is going to be, or whatever you're doing, how you're living your life today, because the daily routine is clearly shaping you for what to expect tomorrow. You do something today hoping for better results tomorrow. So how you are sowing the seed says a lot about what you're going to achieve the following day. So what you do today, your daily routine, is simply the secret to what your future is, or what awaits in your future. That is a tip and quote this morning. Now we switch our eyes to social media trends of what was making different rounds across the timeline over the last 24 hours. And swiftly as we head into our social media trends now, following a statement that was released by government that by 2025, Umeme will not have an extension of their contract to operate in Uganda. The Ugandans on Twitter had their say, and they've had their different grievances all over Umeme. Now, Nada Anderson says, "Dear people, I hope you realize you can get a solar system that can run fridge, TV, lights, computers for 2.5 million and never get an electricity bill. New at Umeme Limited, connection is around 2.7 million plus 140,000 inspection fees. Use this information as you deem fit." That was Nada Anderson who tweeted that particular one. And Mujuni Raymond at Kataha Raymond tweeted the same public notice that was released yesterday that Umeme will not be given a new contract starting 2025. Now, Umeme, according to Raymond Mujuni, Umeme notified shareholders of written communication from government that there will be no renewal of their concession as of 2025. Umeme will be, as it stands, will be out of the country by 2025. And the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance also tweeted public notice. The company has formally received written communication from the government of Uganda notifying it that the current concession will continue to run until its natural end in March 2025, and also tagging at Umeme Limited. So that is according to more of the social media trends, as we keep up to speed with what else was happening across social media. Now, Dark Skinner at Bradley Carl 250 says Umeme might be removing their wires from poles since the contract won't be renewed. Some of a sarcastic tweet from there. Now also, Nicky Boy Uganda at Nicky Boy UG says Umeme doesn't know that I'm using its Siakam meter as my alarm. So that is according to what Nicky Boy UG says. So as you can see from there, it is something that you can clearly watch. And Owen Frank at Owen Frank 15 says, I think solar power is now a basic need in Uganda or any other alternative to electricity, especially if you are working. If you're not working in a setting that doesn't that doesn't have a backup generator. At Umeme Limited, this is freaking crazy. That is as of a tweet from Owen Frank at Owen Frank 15. So that is something that you can see from there. And of course, everyone has got their own grievances with Umeme for the last 20 years or so. And then everybody is actually looking at how Umeme should be working upon their different areas. With the continuous blackouts, there was a nationwide blackout here in on 30th November, so you can see why most of the Ugandans are still having some grievances with that. But as a statement, the government of Uganda will not be renewing their concessional contract with Umeme, so it will be coming to an end on 25th of March 2020. In March 2025 rather. So if we are to look at that, what will then happen? Who are we expected to have as a service provider into our electricity sector? And besides that, now we head into our business updates. Now this particular one takes us to President Museveni, who has reminded the farmers to embrace good farming practices and mechanized agriculture to increase productivity. This is something that you can clearly have on your head that, well, if we want to increase productivity, according to President Museveni, is the fact that we have to make sure that our farmers embrace good farming practices and mechanized agriculture, because now the generation we're in is more of innovation and technology. So mechanized agriculture is by using of different technologies and technological tools like tractors and different tools to at least enhance a high level of productivity within the sector. The president made the plea while commissioning the agricultural mechanization equipment at Namalere National Agriculture Referral Mechanization Center on Thursday. The event, where President Museveni handed over 150 tractors to farmer groups across the country and 100 motorcycles to agriculture inspectors. And also, when you look at the other situation, President Museveni says that this was his problem in the 1960s, and he disagreed with the leaders at the time when it comes to why we're only having other countries to benchmark, yet Uganda itself is a country that is endowed with agricultural practices. So when you look at what President Museveni highlights in this particular report is clearly to remind the farmers that, well, if we are to increase on our agricultural produce, we need to at least work more and more towards increasing our productivity, but by enhancing quality and mechanization in our agricultural practices, because that way will definitely be something we should be working on. That is what President Museveni did highlight yesterday as he was giving out agriculture machinery to the farmer groups in that particular area. And away from that particular update, now our next business update goes on to the vandalism, where electricity poles are something that we should clearly look at. Umeme and the other service providers are crying foul of the fact that vandalism of infrastructure, electricity infrastructure, has become a norm lately, and it's something that is costing the country billions of shillings every year. Now, we can see this particular one coming from Honorable Atoko Sam, and this particular honorable sits on the Committee on Natural Resources, who is commenting on the issue to do with electricity vandalism. Let's have more of this one. Electricity infrastructure vandalism.
I want to really say that during the Committee of Natural Resources, we have made this, a good number of inland visits and benchmarking and looking at oversight. One of the things I've observed is that there is a group of Ugandans who are beginning to sabotage the country, or they are doing things which are not good. I don't know what's the intention. I want to assure you, of recent we went to Jinja Iganga to look at an oversight of a vandalized line, a major line from which feeds Namambe from Bujagali. You find that one member, those people calling their language a member or a tower, it was cut. Some people who are sabotaging go and cut the what? The tower. And looking at how they modify these towers, if one falls down, four will follow what? Down. But you can look at that these people, what I call economic sabotage, they don't even take the wires, they don't take what, they just, somebody goes with a machine to cut these things down. And each of them, we are told the cost is 200 million to build one tower. So you can find in before Jinja, that's Mukono before Jinja, 8 of them were down, times 200. And when we went to Jinja, when you go to Masese, there is another line which goes to through the sugar plantation. 23 were down. So how much is that? And these towers, if you look at the service study, that if they fall down, you cannot use again the members. So that's a lot of money government is what? Losing. But we have done also the restricted bill, which has brought a lot of penalties. I implore now the government and the security agencies to look at these issues, arrest the culprits, and even the Prime Minister just talked about it. It's not going to be a joke. If you are arrested, you are going to feel it, because that's why you are seeing a lot of shedding, because numbers had gone off. I remember one time, over 2 weeks ago, the whole country had gone off for some good hours until they restored the Kawanda subway station. Not because we don't have enough power, but because of vandalism. Vandalism is too much. I implore everybody, every Ugandan who is thinking that electricity is helping, your auntie can die in the hospital, your uncle can die in the hospital when you are cutting the tower, to stop the habit.
This is just a cautious warning to the Ugandan people that sometimes we end up creating the situation of the load shedding across the country. Well, when you remember on 30th of November, there was a countrywide blackout. And of course, some of the reasons behind this, according to the service providers, is also attributed to the electricity infrastructure vandalism. These particular tools used to, for example, the electric poles, whereby most people are actually vandalizing and stealing them from the different areas. This is affecting the service providers and the service being rendered out to most of the people out there. So it is something that we should clearly look at before we engage in such of the activities, because in the long run, it is affecting all of us. Now, the next report that we're having, the next update coming up here is from the side of the health concerns, especially around the intern doctors and the nurses, the salary discrepancies and all in this report. Let's have more.
We are honored by Parliament to present a report from our Committee of Ministers of Public Service and Local Government. That Committee of Parliament basically handles issues pertaining to local government and Ministers of Public Service. They presented a report pertaining to a question that was asked by a woman member of Parliament from Maracha, Honorable Lematia. She was talking about salary discrepancies among the nurses cadre. But that question was brought in May last year, and the financial year started in July, on the 1st of July, and by that time, that report was already overtaken because the salaries were increased for all scientists across board. Therefore, we should not concentrate on over-talking about increment of salaries for scientists again. We should look now at the issue of increasing salaries across board for all civil servants. Because when you check on the report, you find that some nurses have been enhanced 130%, 110%, meaning at least their issue is handled. Now there was another issue about the striking interns. I think the striking interns have other issues of their allowances, but that one will be basically handled by Ministry of Health because it is not a salary. And Ministry of Public Service is always dealing with people who are permanent and pensionable, and some of them who are in as group employees, and they are directly under Ministry of Public Service. So about interns, I reserve that question for Ministry of Health. As Ministry of Public Service, together with Ministry of Finance, are streamlining the issue of the Salaries Review Board so that all salaries are reviewed depending on their job descriptions, the output, and the current expenditure they are incurring, because the cost of living now is very high and money has lost some bit of value. So the Salaries Review Board will be instituted, will be constituted, and the policy is already done. We are remaining with only RIA, which is Regulatory Impact Assessment. When we obtain the certificate of financial implication, we shall table it in Cabinet.
All right, now that is an issue on the table, interns, salaries, and of course for the nurses and the doctors. The grievances don't only apply to the interns, by the way, it also applies to the other in the same region of profession, that is for the doctors and the nurses, the health workers ideally. And of course, at the beginning of this week, the Uganda Medical Association president did say he would not step down. Lots of politics in the sector that I wouldn't wish to enter into. But pretty much the situation when you get to realize that the doctors and the nurses are sending their grievances and their cries to the government to change their salary caps and also lift their salaries, because they should definitely be receiving increment, because even the conditions under which they're working is not favorable for most of them. So that is what this update was entirely pointing out. But before we head into the break, just to remind you that Zabo is there for you to invest in bonds and securities. The markets are now open already, so you can quickly dial *292# and start investing in government bonds. And of course, with a minimum of just 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can see your investments grow day in, day out. So make sure that you grow your savings by not just saving them, but putting them into intangible assets. Invest them into something that will see the money multiply day in, day out. You can select the bonds, learn more about the available products, and see everything moving. That is according to what Zabo says. My money, my future. Alltex East Africa says do something new. So the only new thing that you can do this morning is to invest in bonds and securities by seeing your money grow. These markets are open at 8:15 a.m. They will be closed at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Markets are closed during weekends and during public holidays. That takes us into a break. We shall return with sports business and the entertainment business. Matter of fact, that is what is coming up. Stick around.